Добрий день всім, хто приєднався.
Good afternoon, everybody. The team of Media Center Ukraine to Inform continues its work. Right now in our studio we have Oleksandr Motuzianyk, the spokesperson of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine, and he'll tell us about the changes in the operational situation. Dear friends, I'd like to share with you brief information about the operational situation on the front as of today, noon today. So, the full-scale military aggression of Russia against our country continues, and the key goal of the enemy remains the same at the moment, which is trying to surround and defeat the group of joint forces in the east, taking full control over territories of Donetsk, Luhansk, and Kherson Oblasts, and maintaining a stable ground corridor with the temporarily occupied territory of the Autonomous Republic of Crimea. Aggressor carries out shelling along the whole line of contact and tries to hit deep into the defense lines of our troops, in particular in Donetsk areas of operations and in Slavyansk area. In other places, the enemy holds the lines positions already taken, is doing reconnaissance, hardens its positions, replenishes its reserves of equipment, weapons and ammunition, and in some places tries to improve its tactical situation. I have to mention that there is still a threat of rocket missile strikes by the enemy against military and civilian infrastructural facilities in Ukraine, both from the Black Sea and from the territory of the Republic of Belarus. In the occupied territories of Kherson Oblast, the invaders commit war crimes. They steal property from museums and educational institutions, and stolen property is transported by those war criminals to the temporarily occupied territory of the Autonomous Republic of Crimea. Now brief information by areas of combat actions. So, in Kharkiv direction, a group of the 6th Army of the Western Military District, 41st Army of the Central Military District, and Coast Guard of the Baltic Fleet of Russia have focused their main efforts on holding their positions and preventing Ukrainian troops from further advancing towards the state border of Ukraine. The enemy continues shelling against our troops. In Slavyansk direction, certain units of the 1st Tank Army, 20th Army, Coast Guard troops of Baltic Fleet, 29th, 35th, 36th Army, as well as 68th Armed Corps of the Eastern Military District, and air assault troops of Russia focus their main efforts on taking control over the village of Devhenki, which is 15 kilometers to the south of the city of Izum. And in order to clarify the positions of our units, our positions, the enemy did some air reconnaissance using Orlan-10 type UAV around villages of Devhenki, Dolina and Bohorodechna. In Donetsk area, Donetsk direction, the aggressor is using units of so-called 1st and 2nd Armed Corps, 8th and 58th Armies of the Southern Military District to conduct active military action in Severodonetsk, Bakhmut, Avdiivka and Kurakhove areas. Their key goal is again trying to surround the units of the joint forces around Lysychansk and Severodonetsk. Around Severodonetsk, the enemy tries to attack. In Bakhmut direction, in order to develop its offensive, the enemy tries to cross Siversky Donetsk River near the village of Serebryanka, which is 5 kilometers to the north of Siversk. In Kurakhove direction, the invaders continue carrying out offensive action towards Novomikhailivka, and in Avdiivka direction, they are carrying out assault towards Novokalinova. In Liman, Novopavlovsk and Zaporizhzhia directions, the enemy is now rearranging its units, its troops, replenishes ammunition and fuel and lubricants in order to resume its offensive action. In southern Bug area, there is a group of enemy troops from 8th, 49th Army and 32nd Armed Corps of Southern Military District and their assault troops. those Russian units focus their main efforts on holding the positions they took, doing reconnaissance, hardening the positions, and logistical support for troops. At the same time, the invaders continue shelling towards positions of Ukrainian troops. In Mykolaiv area, in order to strengthen their troops, the enemy has brought equipment and weapons, and in Kryvyi Rih direction, Russian troops are carrying demonstration in order to contain Ukrainian troops. In Volyn, Polisia, and Siversk directions, some units of the Republic of Belarus Armed Forces, totaling up to 7 battalions, continue implementing assignments to reinforce border between Belarus and Ukraine in Brest and Gomel Oblast of Belarus. And the aggressor has again shelled the artillery positions of our troops from the territory of Russia towards border areas of Sumy Oblast. In Bessarabia direction, the situation in Transnistrian region of the Republic of Belarus remains tense. Units of the operational group of Russian troops located there continue being on high alert, and the personnel of those units is contained to barracks. I have to say that on the 17th of May this year, there has been some training exercise of so-called joint peacekeeping forces on communications. In Black Sea and Sea of Azov areas of operations, ships of Russian Black Sea Fleet in Black Sea and Sea of Azov continue doing reconnaissance and providing fire support for their units in coastal area. I have to say that at the moment, there are carriers of missiles ready to use those missiles, 3 carriers of seaborne cruise missiles, caliber type, with their total launch capacity being up to 24 rockets. At the same time, Ukrainian units continue causing huge losses to the enemy in terms of both personnel and equipment. For the last day alone, our air defense units of the ground forces of Ukrainian armed forces downed 10 tactical UAVs, and anti-aircraft rocket units of air forces downed 1 UAV and 4 cruise missiles. In Donetsk and Luhansk areas over the last day, our brave defenders have repelled 12 attacks of the enemy, destroyed 3 tanks, 3 artillery systems, 6 armored fighting vehicles, and 7 vehicles of the enemy. The total combat losses of the enemy are shown on this slide. That's the situation from the front over the last day. That's it. Thank you for attention. Glory to Ukraine. Glory to heroes. Dear colleagues, do you have any questions? You're welcome. I'm from Ukrinform. Thank you. And I have 2 questions. What happens to that so-called road of life from Severodonetsk to Lysychansk? And my second question is this. A week ago, there was information about some units of Russian Federation being brought from Syria. Do you have that information, whether they use those units to add to their troops? Thank you. With regard to your second question, there are such cases. They are documented by Ukrainian intelligence. Russia tries to replenish for its losses, and they use many options available for them in order to bring personnel into combat action in Donbass. We are aware of facts where they hire former combatants in Russia, and there is some hidden mobilization, and they engage so-called servicemen from private military companies. Also, we are aware of fighters who have been now fighting against Ukraine in the east, who participated in hostilities in Syria. With regard to your first question, local military administration is better able to answer it. Thank you. Any more questions? Alexander, could you please tell us anything, if possible, about the evacuation from Azovstal operation? You know, about Azovstal, dear friends, let's wait a bit. The government, Ukraine, has been making huge efforts in order to rescue our servicemen. so I cannot communicate on that matter at the moment. Let's wait. Now, the most important thing is to save lives of our heroes. Any information disclosed in public may damage that process, which is very sensitive. Thank you for understanding. Thank you for your information. We had Oleksandr Motuzianyk with us, the spokesperson of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine, and at 6 p.m. we'll have Liza Tatari now with us, a film director who will present her film Mariupol Chronicles of Hell. Stay with us. Thank you.